Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's Oak, and today I want to talk about some of the pros and cons that I've noticed trying to get started in the production arts, technical stage industry as a 17-year-old, or 16, which is when I started last year. I have them written down in my cute little Moomin book. It's so cute. I got a pack of 3 at Christmas, and I've got all my secret plans in here. I'm joking, I've literally only done one thing so far. Okay, the first pro of starting in the industry as a young person is having access to the youth projects and youth companies, and there's all sorts of things out there for young people. National Theatre does something called National Theatre Skills, and they're like workshops and things, and a lot of those are exclusive for young people. I'm actually really hoping to get on one at the minute about like puppetry and mechanics, which would just be so cool. And there's so many youth groups. I can promise you that there is a youth group close by you that will need help and that would love to work with another young person, because then they can say, not only are our actors young people, but we also have young people working behind the scenes, and that gives them something to gush about, and it gives you a volunteering job. Okay, the second one is not true for everyone, but is definitely true for me, and I think is one of the biggest setbacks for me at the minute. And it's that I 95% rely on public transport to get me to and from places, which always seems to work absolutely fine when I want to get somewhere. Like, I went to London the other day, all good and merry. Getting there was absolutely fine. On the way home, however, all the trains are cancelled. I have to get to like a close-ish station and then get a taxi home because there's just no other way to get home. And I'm finding this a lot with a lot of things. Always the trains home seem to be cancelled. And I would say this is specifically an issue for young people trying to start in the industry, because you can't drive at 16. I mean, I have my moped. That takes me maybe 28 miles per hour on a good day. And I can't go very far with that because every journey is an extra 10 minutes or 30 minutes. Like, it's a lot longer because I can't go as fast. And I can only go on certain roads. So it limits me a lot. So I rely on public transport, which again limits you. There's only certain places you can go, especially in my area. You can't just get everywhere with public transport. But I'm sure you're saying, Oak, you're 17. Surely you can drive. Yeah, so driving lessons would cost me £96 per driving lesson, not to mention a theory test, getting your provisional, actually booking your test. It's pretty impossible these days. I have started learning to drive, but if you are putting so much time into theatre, you're going to struggle to also put time into working to make money to learn to drive, and then to actually have time to drive. It's a big commitment, especially these days with how much it costs. Okay, back to the pros. One pro that I found, mostly when I'm working with like amateur groups, obviously this doesn't apply to youth groups, but there's not really that many young people usually. So when there is one or two other young people with you kind of get pushed together and make friends because you're the two people in the same situation, and it's nice. It's a good way to make friends outside of college. Obviously, I'm not in college anymore, but it's a great way to make friends. And if you are in college or school, it's a nice way to meet people who aren't just in your same circles that you're seeing all the time. And it's really nice. I have made friends from literally all over, and all different ages as well, like younger people, older people, through doing drama and working backstage, and I think it's great. It's a great way to meet people. But like as I just said, working in amateur drama kind of comes with the territory of being one of the only young people. So you're usually working with people a lot older, and a lot more skilled than you, which is great because you can learn a lot. But sometimes people who are older than you and have worked in the industry a lot longer than you will assume that you don't know anything at all, which is difficult when I've been doing this for the last year, and I would say I can definitely at least completely operate a show on my own. I'm quite good at programming, and I've worked as crew, I've worked as sound, I've worked in a lot of departments now, and I'd say that I'm definitely building my skill set up, in comparison to where it was a year ago, where I actually didn't know anything. But some people still assume that I don't know much at all because I am a young person. And you don't see us everywhere, so you might assume that people aren't doing it, or this is my first time. You definitely learn, which is fine. It definitely means that you are working harder to keep up with people. But it's not always nice to be seen as someone who doesn't know what's going on. However, this does come with a great pro that people will praise you for literally anything. Like, I could be like, oh yeah, I know what DMX cable is, and all of a sudden, you are like God to them. You are incredible because you know one or two things, which is fun. It's quite nice. What I'd say at the minute is one of the hardest things for me is trying to find jobs who are willing to actually employ 17-year-olds. This is a problem in all industries because companies don't want to have to deal with the safeguarding and all the extra paperwork and things like that that come with hiring people under 18. So at the minute, the way I kind of deal with this is I work 20 hours a week at my cafe job where I've worked for the last 3 years, and they've been incredible with letting me work more there since I've left college. But the job market is difficult. I'm applying for like 2, 3, 4 jobs a week. Always looking for apprenticeships, always looking for opportunities that don't mention an age limit, but it's difficult. And most likely, if I was to get a job before I turn 18, it's not going to pay particularly well. They don't want to have to pay you more than they feel like they should for the extra effort they're going to. My camera just overheated as I was just getting ready to tell you the last pro, so this is going to have to be quick, but I feel like it's an obvious one. Starting young literally gives you a head start in the industry. Amateur groups will accept you at a very young age, and you can start getting qualifications as young as GCSEs. I did sound operation and sound design as part of my drama GCSE when I decided I didn't want to do acting anymore in my final year. If you started doing that in year 10 when you're 14, you've got a great head start above so many other people, especially if your school has good facilities, which mine didn't, but it can be great if you do have that available. And then obviously you can always apply for amateur groups, youth groups, as young as that age, maybe younger, I don't know, I wasn't trying then. Even just being aware of the industry at that age could have helped me so much. I love doing research and watching YouTube videos and stuff like that on theatre. And if you're doing that from even younger than 14, around that age, you're going to know so much by the time you can really start getting hands-on in the industry and start applying for jobs. It's going to be great. But you know, if you start a little bit later, that's also okay. You can do it at college, you can do it at uni. There's always adult courses. There's so many different ways to get into the industry. But I think, yeah, starting young is a great way to do it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's been quite short and quite different to what I usually post. I would like to continue to give people more of an insight into the production arts, the theatre industry as a whole, and from my perspective, because I don't really see it on YouTube that much from a personal perspective and not just from companies and things like that making little shorts about it. So I hope you enjoyed. Bye!